Hey guys, I shattered my wrist recently, so I wanted to put my next long video on pause and make a short and easy video instead. After rewatching House of the Dragon in preparation for the new upcoming season, I finally found a good subject for a video. As you probably don't know, I am a massive fan of Game of Thrones, and I've recently begun reading the books because I am obsessed with this complex world of characters. I've watched the TV series twice, for the first time in 2021 and a second time in 2023, but in 2022, I had something else on my plate. A lot of things, actually. Arcane, Amphibia, Queen's Gambit, Stranger Things Season 4, The Boys Season 3, Only Murders in the Building Season 2, Peacemaker, Smiling Friends, Don't Hug Me I'm Scared, The Harley Quinn Show, rewatches of Avatar The Last Airbender, Gravity Falls, Community, Steven Universe, Rick and Morty. Do you get the point? I watched a lot of good TV shows in 2022, and somewhere between the cracks slipped House of the Dragon. I watched it to be sure, but recently, seeing the trailers for Season 2, I realized that I remembered pretty much none of it, so rewatching the first season was absolutely vital. I think that my original opinion on House of the Dragon was that it was just good. I wasn't blown away by any specific characters, and nothing topped the esteemed first season of Game of Thrones for me. On rewatch, I've decided that I must have been on crack. This is practically a perfect season of television. I think the most interesting thing about House of the Dragon is the large span of time it covers within its first 8 episodes. We get to watch the characters grow over several decades, with each episode being an important window of time taking place years after the previous episode. From beginning to end, we get to see teenagers eventually become parents of teenagers, and the close relationships dissolve to become bitter rivals. If I'm being honest, it was kind of hard for me to understand what was happening on my very first viewing, especially when actors started to switch in and out between episodes. On rewatch though, I have to call my past self stupid yet again because the writing, and sometimes camera work, do some pretty incredible heavy lifting to make the time jumps make a lot of sense. Unlike the dozens of different viewpoint characters scattered all over the world in Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, by comparison, is a way more centralized narrative. George R.R. Martin is a good-ass writer, no matter how many characters he's writing for, and the main cast of House of the Dragon is exceptional. First off, Rhaenyra Targaryen is a fantastic protagonist. She has a rebellious nature, a good heart, and a queen-like spirit, making her an easy character to root for even when she falters. It's interesting to note that she maintains her exact personality throughout the whole season, unlike most characters who change for the better or worse. The relationship she has with her father, King Viserys, is one of the purest relationships in the franchise. No matter how many times they bicker and argue about choosing a husband, Viserys always has his daughter's back, and the love they have for each other is incredibly heartwarming. Viserys is a wonderful character too, who basically works as the Ned Stark of this season, with a dash of Robert Baratheon's kingliness. He's known throughout history as Viserys the Peaceful, and throughout this season he demonstrates just how peaceful and loving he can be. Even when he looks like Gus Fring, he continues to bring together his estranged family until his last breath. He's my favorite character. His second wife, Queen Alicent, has got to be the most complex and interesting character in the whole show. Being the childhood bestie of Rhaenyra, Alicent Hightower's marriage to King Viserys was the first strain on the two girls' relationship. It's upsetting, yet entirely understandable, to watch the two ladies drift apart over the course of the season, despite both clearly wanting to be friends again. Alicent's growing confidence over the season as she takes over the duties of running the kingdom make her a lot more ruthless and cunning, and there are several times where she really shows the darkness within her. However, the inner conflict she has to keep the peace is the most interesting thing about her, and I think she will be the most interesting character to watch in the upcoming season. Daemon Targaryen's cool too. I don't exactly know what to say about him, but I do love how he also clearly loves his brother, despite how many times they've been estranged. His battle scene in episode 3 was also incredible. The children of Rhaenyra and Alicent only come into play in the last few episodes, but they have definitely raised the stakes. Rhaenyra and her children might be the rightful claim to the throne, but her sons are plainly bastards, something Rhaenyra will never admit. Alicent's kids definitely have a stronger claim to the throne, but much like Stannis in Game of Thrones, it's hard to root for the assholes even if they are obviously right. Alicent's second son specifically is the scariest little asshole I've ever seen, a twisted, evil, one-eyed goblin who is quick to violence and a well-calculated insult. I like Alicent's first son well enough though, Aegon II, since he's the party animal that doesn't want to be king, but is forced to be one anyway. It's a character you don't expect to see in this universe, and I think he'll be a surprisingly dynamic character alongside his mother in the next season. That leaves Sir Criston Cole, the biggest jerkwad of them all. I have never gone from loving a character to hating a character quite as much as Sir Criston, which is fitting because he could say the same for Rhaenyra. He absolutely terrifies me with his silent yet violent temper, and I hope to see a lot more of him in Season 2 despite how much I hate him. There's plenty of other interesting characters to talk about, like Otto Hightower or Rhaenys Targaryen, but I have a feeling I'll want to talk about them more after I watch Season 2. Overall, I absolutely adored this viewing of House of the Dragon, and I'm prepared to say something truly shocking to my past self. This was a better first season than Season 1 of Game of Thrones. I truly love both, but this was absolutely better. I am so excited for Season 2, and you should be too. For those of you who stuck around to the end, thank you very much. Please consider subscribing because soon enough I'll release my next video, and if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, I've got a pretty massive second course for you. As for now, I'm gonna go continue letting my shattered wrist heal. Adios.